Get your rub on with Addicted to the...
Hello, world. Addicted to the Q podcast here. We have T-Daddys BBQ and Tori. How are you doing tonight?
Doing well. How about you guys?
Not too bad. Trying to
Doing
relax
good.
after a kind of a busy weekend. So,
Right.
Very busy.
Very busy.
did you guys cook this weekend?
We did. We did not. We did not compete this weekend. We had on Saturday. We had a couple catering events that we did. One in the morning and one in the afternoon, or for lunch and one for the dinner hour.
Nice.
So it was a busy day.
Oh, I'm sure. So tell us about yourself and your background in barbecue.
All right. Well, so I've always liked to cook. I grew up on a farm here in Eastern Iowa. I was the youngest of 6 kids, and there was quite an age difference between my older sisters and myself. So I had to learn to fend for myself a lot. So I liked to cook. I would get in the kitchen and cook. Sometimes it was good, sometimes it was awful. But I spent a lot of time throughout my life cooking, finding what was good, cooking it, sharing it with other people. Everybody likes it when somebody tells them that their food's good, right? You know.
Oh yeah.
So I got a love for that, sharing my food. So then fast forward to Paul and I getting married, having twin daughters, still cooking, got a smoker, then another smoker, and then another smoker. And then probably our first event that we ever competed in was just a local event here. And we did pretty well. I think we did a surprise category is all they had room for that year.
Yeah.
And then we were hooked. That was 2015, I think.
It was 2015.
2015. And then we just kind of got into the whole thing, all the TV shows, the barbecue pit masters. And I always enjoyed all those, and the Kingsford championships. And, I think that's how it started for a lot of people, watching those shows and not really knowing the first thing about competition barbecue. We kind of dove in later on then. And 2018, we did our first KCBS backyard, and we won it.
Nice.
That was in Kewanee, Illinois, and against some pretty good teams at the time. We made a lot of friends. We've been involved with the Iowa Barbecue Society for several years. Paula did a span as the secretary for the Iowa Barbecue. 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years.
So the whole time we've been throughout that time from about 2013, actually, we were putting on small contests, burger battles for Shallot Days festivals, the town near here. So we've always been involved in that. We like to cook and we like to spread the word of barbecue, So 2019, that win in 2018 got us a draw for the Jack Daniels Shade Tree.
Yep.
And Paula put in for that, and I didn't have a lot of faith in that. I figured, well, with that many teams, well, one day my phone started blowing up, telling me congratulations, la la la, and we got the draw for the Jack, and we went to the Jack in 2019.
Nice.
So we had purchased the vending unit that same year, so we took it down there. So we finished in the middle of the pack down there, and then we all know how things went in the winter of 2020. So then COVID hit, and things changed drastically for comp barbecue, for food service, for everything. So I kind of feel like we had those years taken away from us as far as either way you look at it.
I think
The
everybody.
competing, the one good thing about the pandemic, if there is such a thing, a good thing, was that we got to do a lot of virtual contests. The state of the Iowa Barbecue Society did a battle against the Minnesota Barbecue Society, and it was just virtual, all
That was really
pictures.
fun.
It was a lot of fun. It was it was March, April, and May of 2020, and then I was on the team that won that battle. We got a nice prize from Compart Rib, and we got to do a live chat with Boomerang Barbecue, who was coming off of a strong year that year on the master side. So, like I say, even though there was a lot of setbacks during the pandemic, we did a lot of practicing. I mean, if we didn't cook good food, we at least were able to make it look like it was good. So we did a couple contests that would allow it in 2020.
There we go.
And I don't know, you have anything to add on that as far as we've qualified for the Worlds the last 4 years.
Are you going this year?
We
Yes.
are. We
See
are.
Sweet.
you there. We will see you there.
Yeah, we'll see you.
And
Yeah.
I think the year of 2020 was also the year of the first round of the backyard point chase,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
I believe it.
Oh,
Yeah,
they didn't have Team of the Year chases before that?
before
No.
the no.
Mm-mm.
No,
Not for
and
backyard.
then ironically as well is that shade tree for the jack that we got to cook at was the final one. They've stopped doing those.
Yeah,
I
there's no
wish
more
they-
backyard.
I wish
Yeah.
they do that.
Well, maybe some of us can convince them to bring that back sometime. Maybe that's another discussion, but that was a good time. To be at the learning levels of barbecue and to go down there and be around that it's life changing. I mean, because you're already interested, right? You already know that you want to get involved, and then you go down there and see some of the big names that you've only seen on TV or on videos or on Facebook, and that got us very excited. Very excited.
So, what kind of smokers? You said you bought a first, a second, and about a third smoker. What kind of smokers did you buy?
Well, it started out at first with just just cheap grills and a Weber kettle. Then I don't know, 7 years ago.
Was it 7?
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably. We got our first Weber Smoky Mountain, and that's what we cut our teeth on as far as competition barbecue. And then I got an offset, just a custom offset that somebody had built. He was an engineer, and he designed a really nice smoker, and we used it for a couple local competitions, but it just wasn't. It was made for cooking a large amount of food. So it was kind of one of those things where I battled back and forth between what to get for smokers and units and trailers and everything. I always say that we kind of learned the hard way, the expensive way.
Yes.
The food trailer that we bought had a 250-gallon smoker on the back of it. It was not ideal for competition. It turned out not to be ideal for catering. It was split right down the middle. It had 4 racks. That was kind of one of the things where it would have been nice. It would have been nice to. I could have probably just taken my time like a logical person, but I'm a barbecue fanatic, so I did not do that. But now we've got a H2O 60 on the back of the food trailer.
Nice.
And we've got
Couple drums.
Gateway Smokers drums.
That's our comp.
We're not bashing Hunsaker's. We love Hunsaker's too. We've actually we went down to the shop. We took Eric Burkhart's class and
Uncle Bub.
Oh yeah.
20 2019. That
Same
year that
2019.
yeah, and we went out to the Hunsaker shop then. So
Wait, you went in November? No, I went November of 2020 is when I took it. Okay, that's why I was like, I'm gonna seen you there, but no.
yeah, we were in March of
March.
19. Yeah.
That's a dang good class.
It is, and that changed a lot of things for us too. It
We
changed.
still use a lot of his notes.
His notes are tattered and torn. They've been through a toy hauler fire, but they're with us. I mean, they're with us everywhere we go. Yeah. So as far as the smokers goes, I know that you apples and oranges. So either way, we have drum smokers, the 2 offsets, well, the mix-in and the offset, and we when we go pro here next year,
Peoria.
Masters. What's that?
Peoria.
We'll be using a combination of the Peoria
And
48-inch offset and the 2 drums. That's
You're making the leap next year, huh?
We are, and it has been a goal. We set this goal back in 2019. We have twin daughters that graduated this year. So it sounds silly, but our goal was to always, we were going to do 10 in 2024. Now things have changed a little bit. We're going to shoot for 5 next year. Yeah. I think that's logical, Now I'm cooking full time now. I don't know what the calendar is going to bring. I can't predict when we're going to be booked, but I do know that I can clear the calendar for 5 events and keep them open. So are you going to cook the Royal next year? The Royal?
We hope so. If we
It's
don't get catered, if we don't get booked for a wedding that we do.
Yeah, that's probably one that we should keep clear. Like Paula said, about the only thing that would keep us from that would be a wedding. And we do book some weddings, but there's probably equal chance that it would be open as well. So that's one that we would really like to do. It's
hard to argue with guaranteed money versus spending a crap load of money on a contract.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and with myself doing the, Paula still works her job, and I do right now I'm doing 2 days a week, which means that I prep one day, cook and serve the next day, and tear down and clean the following day. So right now it's working out to where it's Wednesdays and Saturdays. And that keeps me working, more than 40, but I enjoyed it. I love it. I get to spend a lot of time doing what I like. It's not, the type of work that I've done all my life. It's a little bit more on my terms. And I'm learning. I'm learning that, I never thought it was going to be easy, but it is a lot of things about food service and barbecue are a lot more difficult than I thought they were going to be, especially some of the things that I would know nothing about. Food costs is a big one that I struggle with. That's a huge one. And right now I think the industry's feeling that all across the board. One thing that we did not, that we missed was the barbecue sauces. That was something that while I was cooking all those years, I came up with a barbecue sauce recipe.
That's what I'm going to ask you about.
Yeah. And that has stayed in a book. I think the girls are real little because, to be honest with you, the notebook that it's written in is a Hello Kitty notebook. The original T-Daddys recipes written in a Hello Kitty notebook. And so we worked on that over the years, and the girls and Paula would have me change it to this and that. And then, we don't like this. It's too much this, it's too much that. And we ended up with a very simple sauce, and our friends would push for us to bottle it. And I believe, was that 2018?
2018, because Tori had a very bad back surgery that his surgeon didn't want him in factory his entire life, and that was kind of the start of barbecue for him.
Yeah, that was when the dream started. Okay. When I realized that I pretty much wore my body out already. I was, now what? Now what am I going to do? And that's when the dream of the business really started. We started up the sauce. A year later, we bought the trailer. It's been a very slow
Blame COVID.
baby.
Blame COVID.
It's like raising a child. And I wouldn't looking back, I wouldn't do it any other way. I had to continue to work to support for my family, but I every day kept doing something towards my future goal. So
Yep.
I'm right there in the very beginning steps. I have sauce that
Yep.
I'm trying to decide. I think I'm gonna hand make some for a while before I go through the co-packer. So I'm gonna get labels and do it myself.
Yeah. Yep.
Just to see if the market's out there before I go spend a crap load of money.
It is, and
Yes.
we know, and we all know from being involved in barbecue, there's a lot of sauces out there, and a lot of rubs, and all of them are good for the most part. You know what I mean? You can find something good about them, even if one of them doesn't fit your taste.
Yep,
it's good. Somebody thought it was good enough that they, So I think that starting out small. We're still very small in the sauce business. We've talked about getting out there further, and Brian and I have talked about this before.
Yep.
We could agree to go large, but it's always been a comfortable, you can only lose what you have invested, right? So as long as you stay within that comfortable margin, you're safe. And I don't want to put myself or my family's livelihood at stake. I mean, I'll push the bar a little bit, but I'm not ready to go full blown. We'll give it a little time.
That's what I was. I've been reaching out and doing some research, and you got to have a pretty good sized minimum order. And I'm like, I don't want to be stuck with a crap load of bottles if people aren't wanting to buy it. Or Did you guys use that when did you start? Did you from the beginning start using your sauce in your competition recipes?
Yeah, we started using our sauce in competition. Yes. Like I say, our sauce is a very simple base sauce. So then we would add, a lot of times our go-to was Uncle Bub's Hog Shine and T-Daddys original. I got a bottle of it right here. But we did that for a while and did pretty well.
That's what one. Okay, the rib. I think that was still also 2019 when you won ribs at the Iowa State Fair.
Yeah,
that was also 2019.
It was, yeah. And so that was a good. It's a good base sauce. We don't consider it a competition sauce. We have dabbled with a competition recipe that we do use now. We've done pretty well with it, and we mix that too.
Everybody mixes their sauces.
I do too. I'm gonna start using mine, but I'm gonna mix in some probably Blues Hog Tennessee Red with it just to kind of give it a little back end kick. But
yeah, so I think with our sauces, we developed them to taste good, not necessarily to win competitions.
Yep.
But I mean, the sauce was developed over a period of time before I ever even knew what barbecue competition was. So it was just based on flavor, I guess. Very simple tomato base.
But like my wife, and the kids, they like theirs on besides just barbecue, they like it on chicken nuggets, just anything. It's kind of more of just a keep in your fridge sauce than a competition sauce.
Yes, and you would not believe how many tortilla chips have been consumed in this house with T-Daddys barbecue sauce.
I never thought about that.
Oh, it's delicious. Yeah. And then one more thing that I will mention about the sauce and Uncle Bub's is, we got involved in during the virtual competitions. There was
is that May 2020?
May 2020. It was supposed to have been March, but we know what happened in March 2020. So it was stalled, delayed. Judges couldn't gather. So in May of 2020, they had the Pit Hustle sauce competition.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it was like a NCAA bracket tournament, sauce against sauce, and then you The winner would move to the next.
I remember that one.
Yeah, we sat there all day and watched T-Daddys, and it was silly because, there was nothing going on that computer except just the brackets changing all day long. And then it got down to the championship, and it was T-Daddy's original against Uncle Bub's Hogshine, and Eric won. And
of all people to get beat by, I guess he.
Yeah, and we said that. When in fact, when I go back to that in the archives, or it'll pop up as a memory. One of my comments when he posted that when Pit Hustle posted that they got Eric's entry, I put on there a comment like, "Oh no,
we're done."
Because we used it. We knew it was good. But
have you tried his new sauce yet?
Yes, I did taste some of the competition last week. I have a bottle of it in the closet.
I used some of it yesterday, so at my rib comp. So
how did that go?
I got third place, so it can't be. I got third, and the guy who got second used it too, so it can't be that bad a sauce.
There you go, Brian. Were you there?
No, I was doing a different comp that was more of a backyard. You got to overcook your meat, and I didn't overcook.
Yeah.
I did actual comp meat, and didn't fare too well.
Those are fun because you don't know.
One of those, at the church where they want everything mushy and falling off the bone.
Yep.
Yeah.
But you don't know, and it was a bunch of guys. Half of them I knew, and they were like, "Just do it." And I'm like, I'll do it because I want to hang out with you guys. So we planned it for months, and I was just like, I'm just here to have fun anyways. August is our big ones. We got back to back. So I'm like, I'm just going to use it as my timeline to make sure I get everything going right. Well, it was perfect comp. I mean, I would have had awards if it was a comp.
Right. Yeah. And we've done those as well. Back to that first win in our first ever KCBS. The week before, we were at a competition out in Newton, Iowa, and we got it handed to us. It was not a good ride home, 200 miles down Interstate 80. We were like, maybe we shouldn't be doing this, And because we knew we had that comp coming up the following week. I watched videos. I did everything, all the research that I could do, and then we came back with a win the following weekend. And that may be where we truly became addicted to the competitive part of barbecue. Because you don't win every one. I mean, a lot of guys have gotten good fast, and I attribute that to social media. And there's a lot more things available now than there was 5, 6, 8 years ago. To the new, a guy could get it in his mind, or a plan to cook a barbecue competition a month from now, and do his research, and go into a competition and turn in some good food. If by watching videos, there's a lot of stuff out there.
Yep.
So, and I think that's good. I think that's good for the sport.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of
he needs the number one rub out there though too. Sofa King.
Yeah.
Cheap plug.
Yes, we do use Brian's rubs. The one that we use the most is the Twisted Texas rub on our brisket, and we've gotten a lot of raves about it. I may or may not have had to go through sample packs of it that I had around here this week and pour it into bottles.
I've got to get you that. I got to get you that shipping on there, don't I?
Yeah, we'll get on it. Well, I was going to do that today, and we just didn't get to that today. But yeah, we got to work on that here before the end of the week. But
I'll get the shipping tomorrow to you.
Yeah, and there again, when we became a Sofa King sponsored team, Brian knew going in that we were going to be more on the food service barbecue side of it this year, but we have worked a couple of the rubs into some of our finishing rubs, which I think are some of your most important profiles of cook, and we haven't done poorly with it. And I think that goes to show that if like Brian has worked on his rubs, I've worked on, the people who have put these rubs out, or to go even further, our flavor profiles that we've cooked all these years, the main flavor profile hasn't changed. So I used Brian's rubs to fit my flavor profile, what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Sugar in the front, salt, some heat on the back, and I just had this palate for it. There's rubs that one guy may swear by. I may taste it, and right away in my mind, I'm trying to think of what I would use it on, where I would use it, or if I won't use it at all. Paul is pretty good at tasting turn-in. Before turn-in, sometimes I don't like her to. We've been at a competition where she'll take a bite and
no, that's not it.
That's not our rib. So I'm disappointed before I even turn in. I think that's an important thing to find your flavor profile and try to stick with it. Don't change it just because you didn't do well last weekend. And what I was getting at was Brian's rubs can fit into just about any flavor profile. Got some sweet rubs, got some salty rubs, got the hot rub. Right now the heat before the sweet. That's the Twisted Texas can also be used as a salt base before you put either of those two on there. So yeah, we've done our homework with it here at home. So
I added this weekend. I've always used Top Secret on my ribs, and yesterday, right before I put Top Secret on, I used smoked seasoned salt just to give it a little bit of SPG kick to it.
Yep. And I think the only thing there is with those salty products, you just have to be careful.
Yep, I did a light layer.
Yeah, you can hide heat a little bit. It's really hard to hide salt after it's been cooked in, right? It is. You can put as much sauce on there as you want, but you're not going to hide that salt. So I'm always real careful. She watches me season the ribs. The rubs that we use on our chicken, I go very light on those anyway, so we don't run into a problem with that. But
I don't much salt at the base. Like I don't use much salt. Usually I'm the opposite. It could use a little more salt.
Right. So yeah.
So besides Sofa King, do you have any other sponsors you want to give a shout out to?
Oh, well, I guess we could talk about that a little bit, about sponsorship. And we've been real careful to jump on anywhere. And like I said, we discussed with Brian, our situation with 2021, we cooked, 14 contests, 16 contests. And then last year, maybe 8. And this year we knew that my priority was going to be on cooking, vending, catering. So I think we'll probably this year, we're 4 in.
Yeah, we're 4 in now.
So we'll probably hit 8 before the end of the year.
Hopefully.
And so the sponsorship thing, the way we've got a lot of people that help us out. We have family that's very supportive. A lot of the items or a lot of the things that we get aren't monetary. My sister and her boys, Blanchard Family Dairy, they give us a lot of help. When we pulled the food trailer out to the Jack in 2019, we used one of their farm trucks. Just different things like that. A support system for us is, I guess if we wanted to get into sponsorships or support Midwest Grilling Supply, Robbie, he's been really good to us. We've met with him a few times. We've gone to the store and done a couple demos. It's just kind of a relationship.
Yeah, I wouldn't even call it a sponsorship. Whatever people call them.
Yep. We're just kind of exchanging services.
Yep.
You know,
relationships.
he helps promote us a little bit, and then we promote his products and his store. And other than that,
We really don't go out looking or signing up for anything, or
yeah.
I mean,
If we were a 10 to 20 contests a year team, I probably would have signed up for more, but I don't want to disappoint anybody. You know, I want to be able to, if somebody's going to trust that we're going to use their stuff, I want to use their stuff, you know. So I don't want to, we've always been the team that we don't want to be judged by our sponsorship list.
Yeah.
And no, that's not a dig to anybody that has a lot of sponsors. It's just a little bit less responsibility on my part. You know, I don't want to.
we're not good at the hashtagging or the social media stuff that I don't have time for it.
Yeah.
And I don't.
I've learned a lot about it this year.
Yeah. So yeah, and we learned a lot about that algorithms and things like that early on, and it would just, her and I had just learned that just kind of isn't where we sit. And there's more techie people. I know Bradley, you're more of a techie person.
Yep.
Brian, I don't know if you're techie, but you get out there a lot.
He's a little better than his buddy Rob, but not that much.
Yeah, not much. Yeah. And I'm not. So I don't know. I guess that is probably family and just a support group. We have a lot of people that have supported us in this journey that would help us in a heartbeat.
Yep.
We try not to ask. We've always been very self-supportive.
Yep.
on that. A lot of it, I think. Here's a really good point. I think in 20, when we went to the Worlds in Mayetta, was that the first one?
Yes, Mayetta.
That was the inaugural?
Yes.
Okay, we went there.
Kind of, yeah.
Kind of.
For backyard.
For backyard it was, yeah.
Yes.
So we did it was with Richard Frigola. It was a seminar on building your brand.
Yep.
And so that's already been 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And so we had talked about it, and we listened to him and Megan
Day.
Burnt Finger.
Yeah.
We listened to them, and then we got to do some Q&A. And we talked about, when you're ready, be precise on when you make a push to really push your brand. And I had mentioned that at that point we had freshman twin girls at home, and Richard had mentioned, you know what, maybe you just go slow until they're, and in knowing that we had already had goals for 2024, it just made sense. And it was, getting advice from somebody who obviously knows a little bit about what he's talking about. I took it as that family is more important than what I like to do. I'm glad my family is very supportive, but I'm willing to sacrifice a little bit, for that. So
that's what I always tell my sponsors, and I told Brian this right off the bat. Like, I'm honestly maybe 5 or 6 cooks a year. I have kids that are 9 and 10 years old that keep me busy. And I honestly know if I cook more than 10, it would be a second job for me. And I do it for the stress reliever. I don't do it to go out and chase team of the year points and set the world on fire. It's just not going to happen.
Right. And as we talked about, we did that in 2021. 2021.
Was it 20?
And we got to the end of the season, pushing October, and I was like, oh, can we squeeze the top 10 finish in, So then it became priority to find the events to get in there. And we did end up with 8th place. Ninth place overall in 2021. And
nice.
But to your point, it was rough. Should we have been doing that? Maybe sometimes, maybe not. You know what I mean? A lot of money. And that now the way prices are, gas, guys pulling trailers around the country. I think, some of the Master Series guys are probably really feeling it right now. But so yeah, we're kind of comfortable where we're at with the 6 to 10 comps, and maybe next year we'll try to get some of the, a charcoal sponsor or something, but it wasn't a good fit for us up to this point.
Right.
So I have a question about your sauce. Did you start out with the co-packer, or did you start making it yourself?
Well, we started. It's funny you mentioned. So yeah, we started bottling it at home in mason jars and selling it to friends,
Vendor fairs.
vendor fairs, yeah. And until we got a call from the local health authorities on that, but so that was when we finally decided
Apparently
that
you can't do that.
yeah, it's frowned upon. But so we did, when we decided to go with the co-packer, I found a company down in Florida, and I don't mind giving them a plug. Stagecoach sauces. They treated us
wonderful.
really well.
They were great.
I wish I could remember her name, but she was very, very nice, family owned. She was the daughter of the owner. When you would call the number, she would answer it directly herself. And then we rolled with them for the first 2 years, and then it became very important for us to go to plastic, and they did not offer plastic. It seems that the U.S. Postal Service just could not get my product from point A to point B without smashing it to pieces.
Gotcha.
So we now are with a company in North Carolina. I'm not going to give them a plug right now, just because I don't have their permission to. But we went with them, and we've been happy for the most part. But we do want to get more local to our area, and we're looking at avenues to do that. I mean, really, if you think about that with that being in North Carolina, I mean, technically Kansas City would even be local as far as I'm concerned. If I could get into a cube truck and drive to KC and pick it up rather than pay the shipping, I would do that.
What about St. Louis?
That would be, yeah, that's a 5-hour drive.
McCarthy.
Mm.
McCarthy.
Yeah. We've looked at them a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're just kind of trying to keep things alive. We are getting ready to have a batch of the spicy done, which we've needed. So
Down to like 4 bottles.
yeah, we're low, and I've been to some of the stores and they're getting low. So that will all be ordered here within the week, and the turnaround on that should be about a month. So once we get everything revamped and get our product stocked up, then we're going to start looking for more local avenues. Over the years, we've had our own rubs too that we've worked on. There is one particular one that we would like to do something with down the road. But that depends on a lot of things. It depends on how well, if the sauce continues to sell the way that it has, just at an acceptable.
It just sustains itself. I mean,
Yeah, the sauce business just kind of sustains itself.
Yeah.
We get a batch, we distribute it to 7 or 8 local stores. We'll send it in the mail. U.S. Postal Service shipping has
it's taken a toll a little bit.
Yeah, a little
I think
bit.
we've all seen that though.
Oh yeah.
Their increases and their prices have kind of gone quite a bit up.
Yeah. So yeah, we're very, very small scale when it comes to that, but I'm okay with it. At this point, we can say, has the sauce business been successful for us? It hasn't necessarily been lucrative. I mean, not, we're not going to take vacations with the money, places with the money that we've made selling sauce.
Right.
But we're able to have a product with our name on it that a lot of people enjoy.
Yep.
And I think that's what it is for us. So as long as the sauce continues to take care of itself, we'll keep making it. So
Nice.
Trying to think if I have any other questions. Brian, do you have anything?
Your favorite barbecue restaurant in the United States?
Ooh.
Okay. Well, that's going to be an easy one because I'm from Iowa.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta say it.
It's probably because I frequent it the most, and there's probably almost a zero chance that Joe Pierce is going to see this interview anyway. But I'm going to have to say Iowa Smoky D's. Second, we've been to Flaps one time, and it was very good.
Yes.
I love Smoky D's for the consistency. We can stop in there, get the items that we like. We drive by there a few times a year. Then the one time that we went to Slaps, I just really was taken aback by the authenticity. The doors swing open and they reach in there and grab that smoked meat. We really enjoyed Slaps. So but yeah, Iowa Smoky D's is our favorite.
All right. So now in August, your new favorite place is going to be whatever casino we go to.
That's right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I hope so.
Oh no, it'll be fun in August. I'm gonna definitely walk around and look for you because I'll be there with. It's gonna be like Team Sofa King out there, pretty much.
Yeah. It sounds like it. And and something else that we haven't really talked a lot about is the people that we've met along the way. I've always been very, very busy. All these years I worked a job. We all work. But I worked swing shifts, and other than the things that I, barbecue, it was either what I do for fun and work. Eat, sleep, a little bit of fun, work. Yep. So it's nice that we're able to meet people, stay in contact with people. Here we are. We're here. We're talking with each other, and we met through barbecue. Yep. And we've got a lot of friends like that, barbecue friends, and I think that has really helped us a lot because the only other people I ever seen were the people that I worked with. The guy that I ran a machine next to at work, for during COVID, I was there 60, 70 hours a week. And I think that barbecue and the people that are in it was a huge outlet for me.
Yep.
Those were COVID was some tough times. I mean, for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it was.
So I think, I'm thankful. Yesterday, when all the awards were going live, and I was vending, and I'm going to tell this story real quick. I was vending, and Paula called, and she State Center Iowa was this weekend, and she called, and I answered it. I was reluctant because I have the Square hooked up to my phone. I didn't know if me answering my phone was going to mess with the girls running the POS system. So I answered the phone, and she said, Iowa Smoky D's won State Center. Well, I knew she didn't call me to tell me that Darren Worth just won another championship. There was another reason, and our good friend, and I guessed it, our good friend Kyle from T-Rex Barbecue out of Newton, Iowa, was reserve grand champion yesterday. And that was very, very exciting for us because he was one of those guys that we met very early on. 2017, 2018, when we were all pulling into.
We were still backyard.
Yeah, he was backyard. We were all truly backyard, and I think that is another thing when you start to see people that you've seen start with you, not do well, get to the point where they're consistently getting better, and that's we really enjoy that.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
So
Yep.
Well, that's like the contest I organized last weekend.
yeah,
One of my good barbecue friends won that entire thing, and I think I was almost happier for him.
that
than
was
I
Pilot
was.
Grove. Was that Pilot
Yeah.
Grove?
Yep.
Yeah. And I think that when you see these people get better, it just goes to show that you can do it. You gotta get in there and put in the time, put in the work. But I think I am just as happy for them as they are. I
Yep.
mean, and that's a good feeling to have. You're doing
Yes, it
doing
is.
things right when you're able to be happy for people. We've never gone into this swinging elbows.
No.
Like I said, you can get good real fast now, and there's a lot of guys that have done that. They put in their research. A lot of the backyard guys, I could name them. Weeze is Brian Calhoun's a good friend of ours. He's got some passion behind him, and he's willing to put in the time and put in the work, and that can be done. That strategy for us wasn't really an option back when we started, because there wasn't a lot of cases. Well, there wasn't the points chase, for one thing.
Yep.
And another couple that are doing real well. Robert Jackson.
Yep.
He's doing really well.
Yeah.
So those guys have some fuel behind them. So I think that anybody who wants to get into competition barbecue can look at some of these guys and think, okay, well, Ryan Kane,
Yeah.
we competed against him in his first contest at the American Royal Backyard 2 years ago, and he won it. And that was that was the first time we met him, and we became pretty good friends with him. He'd come up north to bring home the bacon in Wisconsin and Minnesota that year. They come in at like 11 o'clock at night on first night, the night before the first day of bringing home the bacon. We shared our camp with them. They pitched a tent, and that guy put himself through some crazy sleeping situations, sleeping in vehicles, but he had the drive to go out there and learn all of that stuff. And it can be done. I know a lot of people can give guys like that flack for getting in there and winning right away, but I don't like to take anything away from those guys because they put in the work. That's a whole nother conversation on when is it time to move up. But if a guy's only been cooking for, 2 months and he's won 6 contests, I don't think it's already time to have that conversation. You know what I mean? Let these guys have their time, let them come in, and I think it'll work itself on its own. I think that backyard is important to KCBS.
Yes.
I really do. I think, for those of the guys that come in and hit it hard right from the get-go, and then folks like us that just kind of hang back and compete when we can.
Yep.
I think there's room for all of us.
Yep.
Well, hopefully in the end, we'll all meet up in the Masters someday,
Yeah.
I call it the more expensive sport of it more than the backyard and Masters.
Yeah.
So that's like they always say that backyard cooks aren't as good as cooks and all this stuff, but the first and the third place this weekend was backyard cooks, and we cooked against Masters here as cooks and ribs.
Yeah.
And that's what Hesse with Bum said. He goes, I don't like facing backyard cooks in one because you guys focus on chicken and ribs, so you guys get really good at that.
Mhm.
Yeah, make no mistake. I mean, it just that word is, and that's also been something too. And I know that I had talked with Ryan quite a few times about a different word that we could use besides backyard, you know. But then at the same time, you don't want to intimidate new folks, you know, that want to get in. You know, that, like I said, that could be a conversation, a whole nother conversation for a different time. But you know, I think that there's room for all of us. The new guy, if you know, and I don't mean to sound rude, but if you're not doing well, try harder. Call people, message me. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people that'll help you. There's a lot of social media platforms that you can get on and ask for help.
Yep.
I know we have the Midwest
There's
barbecue.
barbecue.
Well, yeah, those too. But I mean, just as far as helping each other out, and a lot of those, the Midwest, you run that, don't you, Brad?
No, that's Zach Daughtry.
Oh, that's Zach. I'm sorry. Yeah, but that's been a good one for topics.
Yes.
You know, so the way I look at it is if you're a new team and you want some help, we mentored Shugba Barbecue out of Monmouth, Illinois, not a year ago, in the fall, for bringing home the bacon. They came on day 2. Barely knew them. We met them at the
Barbecue
QC comp that we GC, and befriended him. He reached out, asked questions. So they came up to bring home the bacon. He's a truck driver, brought his wife along. I picked him up at a truck stop. They came for day 2. They took my truck. Barely know these people. I mean, you know, when you meet good people, you know. They went back, came back in the morning with my truck, thank God. And we mentored them through the cook. We had everything pre-trimmed and everything, but we showed them we brought some extra stuff along, showed them how to trim. He got his first KCBS call on day 2 last week in chicken.
Yep.
And
bring home the bacon.
Bring home the bacon. And
Yeah.
that was
To watch him get a call was
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, that was a good deal. And you know, so mentorship is a big thing. I mean, I know I really don't think, you know, the classes are great. You can go take a class, and I know they have taken classes, but I don't think there's anything more important than you building a relationship with the person that you're getting the information from and learning and being mentored. And I'm almost afraid of what we created with that team, because they're going to be good. They're going to be good. So
That's why I always say, anybody, anytime can message me about questions. And I don't keep a lot of things close to me as far as giving away stuff. I don't. I have very few things that I'm really, really secretive about. But
right.
I mean, let's face it. We all use a lot of the same profiles. We use a lot of the same sauces. I mean, it's not a big freaking barbecue secret.
No, it really isn't. And when it comes down to it, a lot of times anymore, as long as we've been at this, and, you know, like I said, a lot of these new guys have cooked more contests in the last 2 years than I have in the last 5.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Weeze and Robert and those guys, they're cooking a lot of contests. But I do know that the person that beats me the most is me. And a lot of times it happens on the tender list.
Yep.
A lot of times I get everything right, nail the timeline, flavor is good, but my tenderness. And, you know, that's just something that we've struggled with. And it's either
really it's a tenderness game, as Darren Worth always says, because tenderness, whether they tell you or not, affects your taste.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yep. Yeah. You feel it before you taste it. You know, your bite. I would agree to that.
If you take a bite and it tastes good, but it's tough, you're going to mark down because it's still tough, so it doesn't taste as good. I mean,
Yeah.
I say every time, tenderness affects your taste. If you can get tenderness nailed, your taste scores will get better too.
Yeah.
Which I act like I know it all. I'm still working on that myself too. So
Yeah. Yeah. No, there's times that we'll have done everything right.
Yep.
And then something will.
Well, it also depends on, specifically when I'm talking about ribs. It also depends on what marbling you have in that ribs, or else none of your profiles are going to work if you don't have the right amount of marbling in it.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. That was some advice that we had gotten from a master's team a couple years back. It was don't the rule number one is don't be out meated. Don't let the meat quality your meat quality is going to you want to try to have just as good a meat as the next guy. And I believe that to an extent. I mean, I don't think it has anything to do with name brand.
No.
Once you cook competitions long enough, you can look at a rack of ribs and know whether it's a rack of ribs that you would cook or not.
Yep.
So that's what I've done. I don't think you necessarily have to have this product, this brand name of ribs or chicken to win. I believe it has to be quality meat.
Yep.
With that being said, we're using Prairie Fresh Naturals right now just because it's the easiest thing that we can get our hands on. Sometimes it takes me a couple weeks to get 6 racks. I got to go in, every time that the truck comes in or whatever to the local Walmart, and I'll usually get 2 at a time, and we'll try to divide them out. We try not to take. So let's say I've got 8 racks that on one of those trips I thought were decent racks. And when I get them, I kind of size them up to what scale, 1, 2, or 3, good, real good, very good. And I don't take 3 very goods to a competition. I take 1 of each. That way you're not using up all of your good quality meats. I mean, if you ordered a case of ribs from one of the big companies, you're going to have racks in there that don't meet your standards a lot of times, 9 times out of 10. But it's yours. You bought it, So that was one thing that we learned from a master's team is that, don't be afraid of some of the crooked bone ribs. If they've got good marbling, learn to cut them.
Yep.
So we've struggled with that a little bit, but we're getting better. And the reason that I bring that up is because not everybody has access to perfect competition meats all the time. You just don't. I mean, it's not. Some guys do, and they're doing really well, and they're getting ribs because they're doing really well, and they have access to them. So for those of us that don't, there's ways that you can get your hands on good meat. You just have to search for it. I've been using Hy-Vee chicken lately. It's good quality chicken. I look at it, look at the color, make sure that a lot of poor chicken comes, to me, in my opinion, comes from being
Handled too much.
If the packages are beat up and the little sticker that's on the package, the price is almost rubbed off of it because it's been rotated so much. Yeah, don't buy that. I mean, but generally we've had pretty good luck with supermarket chicken. I don't want to mention any brands, and the reason I mentioned Hy-Vee is because Hy-Vee is not a meat company; they're Hy-Vee. Yep. So, but I find that the chicken that they get in, whatever company that they're sourcing it through, usually provides a pretty good thigh.
Yeah.
What do you using, Brad, for meat?
Well, usually for chicken, I like Springer Mountain Farms, but I cook legs now than thighs, which I might go back to thighs. I haven't decided yet. Ribs, I used to do Prairie Fresh Naturals, and that's usually all I use. But yesterday we got primes, and them things were amazing. So I may quit nickel and diming myself out of ribs and start getting primes because it's only about $5 a difference. So you're looking at $10-15 for the contest. It may not be worth the price saver.
Right.
They were good ribs. I mean, they were meaty. They were straight bones, marbled. They were good ribs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How about
Some
you,
of the best
Brian?
ribs I ever cooked.
Depends on the contest. Normally, chicken wise, like you, our Hy-Vee sells smart chicken, so I usually get that there.
Yeah, if our Hy-Vee has a smart chicken, I'll go ahead and get it. But recently they have not, and I would rather get the Hy-Vee chicken than some of the other big names in chicken. Like I say, I don't want to bash any, but
no. I mean, in smart chicken at Hy-Vee though, I'm always digging. I like the front's right there, but I go straight to the back section of the chicken because I'm like, ain't nobody touched that. So I know that's good. So that's how I grab that. And then I usually just go to like one American Fire, KC Grilling, somebody who sells meat, and I get prime for ribs. I'll get a Snake River Farm brisket. So
see, and for us around here in Eastern Iowa, we don't, we're there for the longest time. The closest, well, we've got the grilling store now. Robbie's got the Midwest Grilling Supply, but he don't offer meat. So the closest to us that offers competition meat would be Ottumwa, which is 3 hours away, 3.5 hours away, and so it's been really hard for us. And for the longest time, competitions are the same way for us here. We have to drive 200 miles in either direction, north, south, east, or west to get a competition. Davenport's got this one now. But other than that, we were always in 2018 and 2019, we were driving over in Illinois, Southern Illinois, and then eventually, it's 200 miles up to Wisconsin, so being where we're at for whatever reason, even though we're in the Midwest, we couldn't be in a worse spot for products or contests.
Gotcha.
So.
Yeah.
Well,
okay.
Brian,
anything else, Brad?
I don't think I have anything unless you do.
No, I'm good.
Well, thank you guys for coming on. It's been great talking barbecue with you guys.
Yeah,
it was a pleasure.
All right,
thank you guys. We appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.